Hi guys, I saw a lot of you did not try or attempt this section for your week 5 Delta Math, so I figure I'd give you a couple examples to help you. This section really is putting everything together. It's a word problem. Can you write two inequalities? Can you graph the two inequalities with shading? And can you state a solution? So this is really just encompassing finishing up inequalities so that you can see the connections between what you've been doing. All right, so here's our first example. Ian has X quarters and Y dimes. Always write down what you know. So X is going to be the number of quarters, to be more specific, because that is what we do not know. We know how much quarters cost, so that can't be a variable. Same with Y. Y is going to be the number of dimes. We know how much dimes are worth, so that is not a variable. Those are known quantities. All right, so our goal is to create two inequalities based off of what they are giving us. So the first piece of information they give us is that Ian has a minimum. So this is going to be our first inequality. He has a minimum of 16 coins. All right, minimum means it can equal 16 coins, or it can be more than 16 coins. All right, so our inequality here is going to be the greater than or equal to sign. It has to be equal to 16 coins, but it can be more than 16 coins. So if we write that all out, we have the number of quarters we have plus the number of dimes should be greater than or equal to 16 coins. Well, instead of using quarters and dimes, we already gave them variables, so we're just going to replace quarters with X and dimes with Y, and there is your standard form equation. So in order to graph, we're going to change these into slope-intercept form. So the y equals mx plus b, but instead of the equal sign, we have an inequality sign. All right, so everything stays the same in regards to the process of solving for y equals mx plus b, but we're just leaving this inequality sign where it is. All right, so your first step is to get y by itself. So really you're just subtracting x from both sides. Your inequality will now become y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 16. This is the same as y is greater than or equal to 16 minus x. All right, this is just not in slope-intercept form. Okay, slope-intercept form helps you figure out where's your slope and your y-intercept. That's why you want to put it in this specific order, because this here tells you your slope, and the number by itself is going to be your y-intercept. Okay, that's why we want to put it in slope-intercept form. Okay, so moving on, the second piece of information they tell us is that the coins are worth a maximum of $3. Okay, maximum means it can equal $3 or it can be less than $3. Maximum, the highest it can be. All right, so your inequality sign is less than or equal to. So that's where we're going to start. So now look at our units. It's money. So we have to incorporate some sort of money aspect with the number of quarters and the number of dimes so that we get an answer that is worth a unit of money. So, well, what do we know about quarters? Well, quarters cost 25 cents. All right. So it's 25 cents for each quarter that you have. So you're multiplying that by X, and then you're going to add that with, well, how much does a dime cost? It's 10 cents. You do not need to put the extra zero. If you would like to, you can. All right, so it's 10 cents times however many dimes you have, and then that is going to be less than or equal to $3. All right, so again, we want to change this into slope-intercept form. So we want to get this y by itself. So the first thing that we want to do is subtract this 20.25x from both sides. All right, 5x from both sides. So that means that this cancels out. We're just bringing down this 0.1y less than or equal to negative 0.25x plus 3. You cannot combine them. They are not like terms. They both do not have an x, so you have to separate them. All right, so there's still a number in front of y. When a number is in front of y, it's multiplication. So in order to undo that, we are going to divide 0.1 from the left side. That means what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we are going to also divide 0.1 from the other side. Now we have to be fair. That means everything gets divided by 0.1. All right. So when we finish doing the math, it's going to be y is less than or equal to the negative. Just bring the negative down. Take your calculator, or you can also use your cell phone. All right. 0.25 divided by 0.1. This is going to give you 2.5. All right. Don't forget about the x. The x still comes along for the ride. And then you have 3 divided by 0.1. And that is just moving the decimal over. So this is really just 30. All right. So you have 2 inequalities. And those are the 2 inequalities that we are going to input here. So inequality 1, we are going to do y is greater than or equal to, all right, negative x plus 16. You're going to press plot. It's going to plot the line for you. And then you're going to tell me which side to shade. So if you click it once, it shades there, all right. But this says y is greater than. Greater than means it's above the line. So if you look at the shading is below the line. So I want it above, so I'm going to switch shade so that it's shading above the line. All right. Inequality 2 is y is less than. Great. We're just putting in negative 2.5x plus 30. Plot line. And then it's less than, so we want the shading to be below the line. So I'm going to switch shade. There we go. There's our 2 shaded graphs. All right. So last but not least is a solution. So ink can have blank quarters and blank dimes. So really your solution is where the 2 shaded regions are going to intersect. So you see the purple, that's only going to be all of your solutions for that first inequality. The green is going to be all of the solutions for your second inequality. If you're asking for the solution for this system, it's going to be where the colors are going to be together. So you're going to pick any point that is in this shaded darker teal color that's between that green and the purple and type it here. Remember, quarters is x, so here's your x. I'm going to do 2 quarters, and I'm going to go up, and 16 for your y values is your dimes, and then press submit answer, press yes, and there we go. All right. So you can continue watching. I will do one more problem. Okay. So new problem. Perfect. I'm going to